I mean, at the end of the day, you really just got to zoom out and just realize we're all in this together. No,
I am chatting today with Mike Day, the director of Fog of War. Honestly, Mike, thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate it.
yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for taking the time as well.
Honestly, it's a privilege. The Fog of War is so much fun. I love a good thriller and I love a war film, and you've put them both together here in Fog of War. You got them both. What excited you to tell the story?
Yeah, I mean, I was really really attracted to the idea that it's kind of contained and it's about the family dynamic, which is ironically kind of pretty relevant today, even with what's going on politically. And so I think that was just kind of interesting to look at a World War II movie without it actually being on the battlefront, and especially doing it on American soil, which, obviously the battle wasn't fought in America. And so that was just kind of interesting to see, what was at play here at the States going on. Obviously, it wasn't a true story, but I mean, you could see how, there were these things going on with the German American Bund and things like that at that time in America. There were these secret societies actually, having an alternative agenda. And so that's what I really liked about it was, it's a World War II movie, but we're not on the battlefield. We're, at a family home, and it's really about that espionage thriller that takes place there. And I thought that was really fun and unique and a different take on it.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because I mean, I knew this was a fictional story, but I wondered about that element of reality to it because it talked about the German Bund and this stuff was going on, was it not, during the war, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah, and actually, just one thing the writer the writer is actually from England, and it actually is based off a true story over there, where there was like a farmer that had some immigrants that were working the farm and living there, and in the middle of the nights they would see weird light flashings, and then one day all of a sudden they tracked it down to these farm hands,
Hmm.
and the police just showed up, took them away. No one to this day really knows what happened, what they were doing, or who they were working with. But it was obvious that they were working, with the Germans and just trying to do something over there in London or somewhere in England with it. And so it was kind of based off that true story, but then we just kind of catered it here to America because, like you said, like, yeah, the German American Bund was active at the time. I mean, well, they said it was shuttered and not around anymore, but secretly there were still groups still planning and plotting and trying to figure out how they could help the Nazis here in America.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I love what you're saying here too about it being the family dynamic because I think that's what makes this fun. Everything, everyone about this is a suspect. But I thought your comment was interesting about it really have connecting with today. Can you talk a little bit about that? How you see that playing out in the families of the modern era?
Yeah, I mean, you hear about it all the time. I mean, especially out here in California, you have a lot of people that transplants from smaller Midwest towns, or whatever. And I mean, there's so many people I know that are like, oh yeah, like me and my family are so divided politically right now with the temperature of what's going on, and it's just so interesting. It's like it's just history repeating itself, where like everyone. But this is what I really love about the John Cusack character was, and this is what's really good about any bad guy in a film is, they truly believe what they're doing is the right thing. And so it's really hard to have an argument, like an intelligent argument with someone when their mindset is so one way. And like, no matter what you say, like, well, but I really truly believe this. It's like at their core, they really believe what they're doing. And so we see a lot of that today too with families where it's just, yeah, I mean, especially what's going on with the politics, say with Trump and Biden and all that, and it's very divided, and you're starting to see like the rumblings of almost like a civil war again of just here in America. It's kind of scary.
Yeah, and you know what I loved about this film, and this I thought was really interesting, is the acknowledgement of both sides aren't necessarily good.
Right.
Which is interesting because you said like there's this, when you've got people locked into their perspective, but you've also got these characters. I think they say, that they're just waiting for some sort of darkness to show up. Um, can you talk about that? Because I think it's an interesting tension. Like you said, there's this perspective of I'm right, but also this acknowledgement that maybe none of us are.
Right. And yeah, so it's like it's really like yeah, it's like how it's everyone's perspective really. It's really interesting because there's an interesting scene with Penny at the cliffs with the Jay character, and yeah, she that's what she said. She's like, we have people, the war's over there, but we have people here in America in bread lines. We're suffering here just as much as they are, and but the battle's not even here, so it's affecting us at home. And so at that once that starts creeping into your own personal life, then all of a sudden you have your own opinions and then you start taking your own actions because you're just trying to protect your own family and just put food on the table at the end of the day to feed your kids. And so that's where I think the line can start getting skewed because there's the greater good for the country, for the people, for humanity even. But then at the end of the day, what do I need to do to survive and have my family survive? And that's kind of the perspective that they're all kind of they're taking. And it's like, well, the axis, they went east or west, like she says. And it's like, so we're suffering here, but but we can do this instead, and this might help. They're just so blinded by that reality of what they think is going to help them because what the we're on one side of the battle here, but it's not really helping us yet. So maybe we switch sides and it will help us.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I mean. This film is fun for how many pieces are on the board and how many of them are shifting around. Um,
Yeah.
and there was one line in the script that I wanted to ask you about specifically too. This the line says, "Not every evil comes to destroy us." I was wondering
Yeah.
what you thought about that.
Yeah. So yeah, Aunt Maud says that line to Uncle Bob, and it's she's talking about Gene, the pilot, and I thought it was interesting because to them he's an American soldier, and to them the Americans are the evil people. So that's what she's saying. Not it's like maybe we can use him, like he could be a tool for us. So like he might be evil to us now, but let's let him in. Let's try to mold him. Let's try to make him work for us. Like let's just he just went through battle. He lost a lot of people. Maybe he's weak and wounded and mentally looking for something that is different. And so I think that's kind of what they're saying. It's like psychologically, we might be able to turn him. Like we could use this to our own advantage. And now we have one more person on the inside working with us. And so I think that's kind of the thing. They're all working in the shadows themselves. But if they could get another soldier on their side to, get them the information that like leaked information, then that's just going to help their cause too. So it's like, yeah, he might be evil from the get-go, but he might not destroy us. He might help us instead, essentially, if they
Well,
do their job right.
yeah, yeah. What was it like? I mean, this is like you said, this is a war movie that's not on the battlefield, and the things that you're talking about there, like, you know, a back to perspective and how can we use this? But as you're bringing this to putting this to screen, bringing this to life, what's it like? What was it like thinking of war away from the front? And what sorts of research did you do?
Yeah, it was interesting. Yeah, like because like the red line came up a lot. And you'll see, and there's a shot where we found an old handbook on like how to ration your food during war times,
Hmm.
and that was just really interesting. That yeah, not on the battlefield, but everyone here back at home they had to switch jobs sometimes. Now they used to work on the farm, they might be at a factory doing ammunition now. It's like so everyone had a part to play, and it's as simple as hey, like let's just make sure we're not eating like taking all the food. Like let's ration the food so that the country doesn't starve. And so it became this perspective where everyone kind of had to work together as a country and be unified. It's like, okay, well, I want to make sure not that I'm not starving, but I also want to make sure my neighbors aren't starving either. And so we have a scene in there too, where that kind of comes to a point where that comes up, and that just came out in the research where we were looking into like how it affected the Americans back home. And it's like, yeah, they had to change their jobs, they had to some had went overseas to fight. The farmers were giving up food, to send overseas or just ration it better, and just things like that. Everyone had a different sacrifice they had to make essentially, even if it wasn't on the battlefield.
And I know the scene you're talking about. I love that one. I think that was, and it was funny because I felt like that was the first time I'd seen a scene like that in a war film, as they're arguing about the proper amount of rations on the table, and it's like, and it took me a minute. I'm like, what's the big deal about this? But you're right. It's about something much bigger than what they're having for dinner. It's about
Yeah.
celebrating the effort, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like we're all in this together, and the goal is for us all to survive, not just each of us individually.
Well, with that being said, Mike, without giving too much away, there is a question at the end, um,
Yeah.
that says, "Who really is the enemy?" Um, and I guess my question for you, with a film like this, or just like, how do we know who the enemy is? What's that line to you?
Yeah, I mean that's the scary part. It's really all perspective again, and I mean, at the end of the day, you really just got to zoom out and just realize we're all in this together, not by country or by race or whatever. I think that's what's scary is we still have these lines in the sand. It's like, well, this is our country. We got to protect this and our people. But it's like, once you take a bigger perspective of that, it's like, yeah, we're all on planet Earth together. Like we're in this together. We should find a way to not fight together, but work together and not fight against each other. Like we all have our different opinions, our different perspectives, but we got to find a way to work together on this and just let everyone live in peace and harmony. Like there's no reason not to.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I wanted to ask you too. I mean, you're working with John Cusack and Mira Sorvino. These are two big names. Um, how did they come to be involved, and what was it like working with them on the set?
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, I know we got the script to John. John was actually already circling the project before I became attached, and so that was interesting. Where when they're like, "Hey, John's already looked at this, he likes it, but we need to find a director that sees the same vision." And so then basically it became me talking with John a lot and getting the script to where we both were happy with it because I mean, he's been doing this for so long, and he had such a great take on things, and just really wanted to develop the characters and give them a strong background. And so that was a lot of fun. And so basically, him and I just worked together a lot on that and kind of got to the point where it's like, okay, yeah, we're both happy with this. And then we got to move forward with the project. So it was kind of where he was kind of attached before I was in a sense. And then I kind of came on and made sure we all were working together and got it to work. So that was kind of interesting, kind of being more interviewed by him than anyone. So that was kind of fun. But then being on set, I mean, him and Mira and Jake and Brianna, they're all just such great to work with. And they all really cared about the characters and just brought so much. And they all did their own research and backstories, especially Mira. She is actually brilliant in real life. And so she just knows so much about everything. And so she brought a lot of fun dialogue to the character and just kind of just really elevated it and made them feel like, you could see how they kind of had like a different perspective based off of like some of her background that she gave it with like the eclecticness in the books and the Carl Jung of it all that she talks about in the film. So it was just great working with them, and they all just cared so much about putting out a really great film with great characters, and I hope to do it again.
The Everybody in the film is great. They do a wonderful job. Honestly,
Yeah.
Mike, the Fog of War is such a blast. But what do you hope people take away from their time in the Second World War with you?
Yeah, I mean, I hope I hope they see that, how history is kind of repeating itself and how maybe we should do something about that. It's like, oh, hey, I mean, I think, yeah, that's more than anything. It's just I want them to see it and be like, wow, why does this feel so relevant today? And how can we do it different?
Absolutely. Fog of War is on VOD and digital right now. Honestly, thank you so much for the time, Mike. I really appreciate it. Have a great day.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it.
Anytime.
Talk soon.
So much. Bye bye.